Most of us live under the assumption that ruining a life requires a massive, visible disaster. We imagine a total financial collapse, a catastrophic career choice, or some dramatic failure that everyone can see. But your future isn't stolen in a single night. It disappears in fractions of a second. You lose your life in microscopic, daily increments, moments so small they feel irrelevant, until they've accumulated into a decade you can't account for. This is the standard American baseline. You wake up, execute a series of familiar, low-stakes routines, and eventually retreat into the evening. You sit on the couch, open a feed, and stay there until your brain shuts down for the night. This cycle feels safe because it is low energy. Your biology is designed to prioritize the path that requires the least amount of metabolic effort. There is no risk of failure here, no social rejection, and absolutely no strain on your nervous system. This is the danger. Because the erosion of your potential feels exactly like comfort, you have no biological alarm to tell you that anything is wrong. You feel perfectly fine while your years are quietly liquidated. To see how this happens, we have to look at the smallest unit of wasted time, the minutes you surrender to a screen every night. This is the path of least resistance. Your brain is a survival machine, hardwired to divert energy away from high-friction activities towards easy stimulation. Digital scrolling exploits this bypass. By providing instant rewards with zero effort, it trains your brain to ignore harder paths. Choosing the feed over a difficult book or a side project seems like a minor trade-off at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. But that choice sets a biological precedent. You are telling your nervous system that effort is unnecessary. By constantly opting for ease, you are physically conditioning your mind to view even slight discomfort as a signal to retreat. You are losing your ability to tolerate the friction required for success. Every hour spent in a dopamine loop recalibrates your baseline for effort. It leaves you mentally fragile, making the focus required to build a meaningful life feel like an impossible, exhausting weight. When these nights stack up, they create months of total stagnation. You look back at the last quarter and realize your circumstances haven't moved an inch. This is where we adopt the lie of the right time. You tell yourself you're just waiting for a surge of motivation or a clear sign to finally start. You're waiting for an internal feeling to override a physical, biological habit. This matrix shows why that logic fails. The left side is the wait for motivation loop. It relies on a feeling that rarely comes. The right side shows how successful people actually operate. They bypass feelings entirely. They use external triggers to force their environment to change, which eventually drags their behavior along with it. If you wait for a feeling to save you, you are essentially gambling that your biology will spontaneously decide to do something difficult. It won't. You will stay trapped in the same room with the same habits for as long as you allow the environment to remain comfortable. The ultimate consequence is a life spent in the waiting room. You wake up and realize that years of your prime have been traded for short-term comfort. Living without a defined direction isn't a neutral choice. It is a commitment to drift. Without a target that requires effort, your brain will always default to the easiest, most mindless option available. Look at how a 1% daily deviation compounds over 10 years. It seems small today, but those lines end up in different worlds. The massive distance between them is the sum total of every time you chose the easy path over the necessary one. We hide this reality behind the illusion of busyness. We answer emails, we run errands, and we feel exhausted, but we aren't moving. We are confusing activity with progress. Motion without direction is a treadmill. It allows you to feel the fatigue of life without ever reaching the destination. This is how regret is manufactured. It's not about the things you did, it's about the decades you spent on autopilot, waiting for a life that you never actually started. Your future is simply a magnification of whatever you are doing right now. If your current Tuesday is a repeat of last Tuesday, your next 5 years are already written. To break a biological drive for ease, you have to introduce intentional friction. Since your brain is physically wired to take the easiest path, you must physically make the wrong paths harder and the right paths unavoidable. You cannot think your way out of a biological trap. You have to build a new environment that demands more of you. Clarity doesn't come from a perfect plan. It comes from the willingness to move into discomfort without knowing the outcome. The resistance you feel when you start is the only proof you have that you're finally overriding the autopilot. Seeing the autopilot for what it is, a biological prison of your own making, is the moment the walls begin to thin. You stop being a passenger to your own impulses and start directing the energy yourself. The clock is still ticking, but it's ticking on a timeline you can still change. Write down the one habit you are going to sabotage today to make the easy path harder. If this changed the way you see your time, like the video and subscribe. The waiting is over. Get moving.